Hello and welcome to AZAAZ. That is Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho. I am not Brett Martin. I cannot stress that enough. But I am your host today, Greg Belknap, joined here by the incomparable team of experts. I've got Lucas Santana, Wayne Martin, and Landon McCluskey. And we are here, believe it or not, it is a brand new year, a brand new us. Volume 2, issue number 1. They said it couldn't be done. They all said it. They were sending us emails every week about it, saying, don't you do it. Don't you make a volume 2, but we just can't listen. No. For those who are joining us maybe for the first time, this is the show where we here at Zenatta Consulting look at all of the various questions that you send us either through YouTube comments or our Club Zenatta forum, and take some of the best ones and answer them here on YouTube for you. Anybody and everybody here is a little under the weather, but like the mail, through rain, wind, sleet, snow, or flu, the AZAAZ must go through. So let's hop right into it with our first question. Oh, that's me. This question comes from Cameron Howitt, asked over at Club Zenatta. In the CRM, you can create a workflow rule that triggers off of a date field, but I do not see this option in Zoho projects. Is there any way to create a unique workaround that can be used to make a workflow to run on a date field within a task? I would like to have some tasks autocomplete on the due date. Well, there's not a clean workaround for creating a date trigger inside of Zoho Projects. Zoho Projects has one of my least favorite APIs to work with. There's not really any like bulk actions, so unfortunately, it's because my go-to answer for this would be, well, if you just have like a daily scheduled function that would just try to like filter out any and all tasks where this particular date field is today, and then just go and auto closing those. But I don't actually know that you can do that very effectively, especially because there's a lot of rate limits. You would have to update each task on its own, and you can only update so many tasks within a minute before you get locked out of the API for half an hour. So my other idea is that you would, I think maybe the cleanest workaround would be creating like a workflow rule that on just edit or change of that date field, you actually have like a separate, you could make like a separate module in the CRM of just like create a custom module called like date closers or something. And then whenever that date field changes, have that creator update a record in that custom module, and then have your workflow rule to run off of those dates. Like I said, that's not clean, and I don't like the sound of it, but if that's the thing that you really want to have happen, that is a way to do it.
Another way you could do it, again, it wouldn't be probably even less clean than that, but just have it on update of that field. Zoho Flow, which, but Zoho Flow, trigger it, have it subtract that day, today from that day, have it wait and then check on that day to see if it's still that day. And even less clean than you were talking about, but it is doable.
A Zoho Flow with a variable delay. You feed
it. Idea, but you're still subject to the rate limits, right? Yeah, because everything should change at the same time. The day changes for everybody, so it's still going to be subject to that rate limit. So I think that I like the idea of flow. I think it's a good way to subvert flow to our needs. But I think that the first idea, like the scheduled function, to close it all out depending on your volume, and I think it's the way to go, right?
Yeah,
and you can even like scale it down. you can have like do 30. I don't know what the exact limit depends on your version and depends on your implementation of the Zoho project. You can ask for some grace limits depending on your usage of Zoho projects and Zoho's willingness. But technically, you could just say run for 30, run for 50, whatever your limit is, and stop. Don't do it anymore, and wait for a next hour to continue everything on. So it could be an idea.
Yeah, there you go.
Sweet. So Karen Sinizio asked in Club Z, created a post called Send with Zoho Sign option for custom module. And she said, I need the Send with Zoho Sign in a custom module. I found this delete script and then proceeds to copy the delete script in there. However, I would appreciate the steps needed to integrate Zoho Sign API, handle authentication, upload, and the necessary workflow. So this is a bigger question than we could actually reference to you in here. We could create a video on how to download something, how to upload it to work to Zoho Sign. So those would be separate videos. Like every step you mentioned is a different topic, an actual implementation. But what you need here apparently is a button that you click on a record that gets a document from a field and uploads it to Zoho Sign, so it sends to that contact or to that email. So I would go the route of creating a file upload field that would have the signed document that needs to be sent there. In the signed document, you're gonna need to put in some, I think they call it merge tags. It's like a way of signifying that this place needs a signature or this place needs a date or fields of some sort to be filled in by the signer. And after that, you can create the button and it will be inside of the CRM in your record. For the Zoho Sign API, it's very easy to get the authentication. Everything inside of Zoho is just a connection away. So you technically can just click the Zoho Sign API and authenticate using your Zoho CRM or your Zoho account to authenticate in, and then you just use it in a connection. But it's going to require a lot of deluge for that to work properly and to have no hiccups. So, any advice on that, guys?
Any particular reason that you prefer the idea of using a file upload field rather than, say, like uploading something to Work Drive and then copying a permalink to a CRM record?
I'd rather so not everybody knows how to copy a permalink from Work Drive to CRM. So the idea of having the file upload field is just so it's easier on the user. And you can download with the API and upload it straight away and then clear it out. So it wouldn't be in any place. It would just hover over that field for a couple of minutes until you click that button. Then you click it and then it's done. And then we can even re-upload the file there, I don't know. And the good thing about the file upload field is that you can technically run automations on it, so you don't even need to have it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it could be an idea. Whenever you upload something in there, it's going to send it to Zoho Sign. No questions asked. So.
All right, and Kush Vishwakarma asks from our YouTube video why and how to use batches for bulk emails in Zoho campaigns. Is it possible to send more than 1,000 emails per day in bulk? Yes, you can. There is no limit in Zoho campaigns. You can send as many emails as you want. You don't have to use the bulk feature if you don't want to. In that video, I was just recommending it, though, because to avoid spam filters and to get flagged, when you start getting the 5, 10, 20K plus emails, it's better to batch them than just send them off in one bulk. But there's no limitations. If you want to send 60,000 people an email, you can go ahead and hit send now to all. Zoho on their end they might not all go out at the exact time you wanted to send them, but you have that option. So I know some people get confused. They run into CRM and campaigns and see the campaign or sending an email campaign out of CRM. They are not the same. And that it was the limit, guys. I think 500 emails per day out of CRM.
Yep.
Right. If you're running into a limitation error, it's because you're sending them out of CRM. instead of campaigns.
All right, this question comes to us from Radha, who asked on our YouTube video about the ultimate guide to configuring and optimizing Zoho inventory. How would I set the closing stock value for last year? Interesting question, because you can, when you're setting up items and your Zoho inventory instance, you set the opening stock for all of your items. Where you're saying, all right, we're going to start making transactions from this point on. Obviously, we're starting with this many in our warehouses or our inventory. But closing stock, you won't actually set closing stock as its own specific number. Closing stock is going to be calculated and derived from all of the transactions that you have recorded in your Zoho inventory instance. So the closing stock, hopefully, if you've been creating your sales orders and invoices and purchase orders and bills appropriately, then your closing stock value should automatically be set. Now, I suppose there's always possibilities for the need for inventory adjustments. Say you have some products that maybe are damaged, or if you have products that expire and have to be replaced, then that's what the inventory adjustments module is for. And so then you can say that, oh, well, we had to, remove 20 expired COVID tests or something like that we were keeping in our warehouse. And so at the end of the year, if you know what the end number is supposed to be, because, well, you're looking at your shelves and you can see, well, I can see I have 20 of product A in front of me here. And if after double checking, you've put in all the sales orders and there's just some randomly, well, I don't know, I have, 2 more here that it says that Zoho inventory says that I have, just make an inventory adjustment so that you can start the year with whatever your physical inspections of your inventory stocks show you.
So you just create a report for the date that you want the stock to be, and it's going to be calculated on that date. So the inventory adjustments will factor in that calculation.
Yep.
Sweet. So now from a YouTube video, managing accounting and physical stock levels in Zoho inventory, Innocent Ihashikoma asked, thank you for the enlightenment, sir. You're welcome. It wasn't me. It was probably John, but I'll take it. Please, how could one adjust inventory cost, price, and selling price in case of current price changes? So this is fairly easy. You would just need to create an import for your inventory items. And in there, you can set purchase price and sales price. So whenever you're importing inventory, there is a simple file that you can download. And from that file, just add the SKUs or the item names of everything, set the new prices that you want for purchase price, for selling price, for everything you need, and then you can re-import it in. So there are some, intricacies in that where you would need to set like the inventory account. You would need to put that in there so that the import file takes. So it would be a little trial and error whenever you're uploading. So upload the import file, generate the summary, check the errors, fix the file, and it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. But I think that on the 10th try, you'll be able to update your prices, no problem.
Well, it's like they say, the old 10th tries the charm. That's right. How the saying goes. With that, a piece of advice, if you are in that kind of trial and error season, if you start with just a small file of like 10 rows of data, just to because then the system can process that almost instantaneously, so you can quickly get that feedback rather than trying to do it for your 15,000 rows of data and then having to play guess and check out with that after the fact. So start with a small batch, and then once you get that small batch working, then you apply it to a bigger batch.
All right, this next one comes from Kanan after watching the YouTube video Zoho CRM Blueprints Beginner's Tutorial. Says, does this blueprint allow users to go back in deal stages? I'm using and learning this CRM, but trying to figure out the ways of blocking going backwards in deal stages. Does anyone know how I can do that? Thanks in advance. You're welcome in not advance. Yeah, there's a bunch of ways that you could do this. Blueprints are a fantastic way to do it. The only way in a blueprint that you can go back is if you specifically create a transition to go to a prior stage. Otherwise, everything is linear in your blueprint and you can't go backwards unless, again, you either create a transition or if you have it removed from the blueprint for any reason. But yeah, blueprints are a very good way to do that. You can also create layout or create rules for your pipeline that say, okay, you can't move it to this stage unless this specific criteria are met. Something like that. Those are probably your two easiest, most straightforward options. But if your concern is making sure that people using the deal stages are going in the correct order, blueprints probably your best bet there for sure.
Yep, I would agree.
Okay, Buddy Quaid asked from our YouTube video, email workflows and automation in Zoho campaigns. Hi, Tyler. I saw in your CRM you had interest. How are you syncing those with campaigns, or is that automatic? And to answer the question, it is not automatic. There's some default syncs that are set up with CRM to campaigns. However, any custom fields, or there might even be some fields that aren't custom fields that you would need to manually map over, but it's really easy. Simply just go to contacts inside Zoho campaigns, and then you'll see a tab called Sync Services. Click on that tab, and under Sync Services, you'll see CRM as one of the syncs. And then there you'll see a leads and contacts module. Depending on which module you use for your contacts, you'll want to sync both or just one, depending on which you use. So you'll want to go over to, let's say, the leads, and then click on field mapping. And then there you can go ahead and add any additional fields you want to map. And I would give them both the same name inside of Zoho campaigns. There's usually, I think, an add new button, automatically populate that custom field for you. Hit map. And then when you go, let's say you have to do both. So then you go to the other module, it'll already exist. So you just click that same field interest, for example, and then you would just select the interest field inside campaigns, initiate, and you'll be good to go. Give it about 5 to 10 minutes to pull all of that data in.
I hope that this answer doesn't come too late, because, Buddy Quaid, I'm assuming that's Buddy the Elf's real last name. And so I just hope that this isn't too late, that this wasn't part of, some Christmas logistics that needed to happen. So if they are, really sorry to all the little boys and girls that didn't get their newsletters. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I can tell you that whatever it was, it did not affect the normal present deliveries for Santa, because he came to my house for my kids. So whatever it was, it didn't have a massive ripple effect if some did go.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, I feel good about that then.
Santa didn't visit me this year, so maybe it did.
Well, you're in Germany, so were you visited by the Krampus?
Yeah, that was a few weeks ago, though.
Usually okay. Krampus has come and gone.
All right, last question here from Nick after posting in Club Z, not watching a video. In any case, he says, in Zoho inventory, we can create contact persons underneath a business or individual. When the primary contact syncs to Zoho CRM via the native integration, it does not sync any information about the contact persons listed in books and inventory. We commonly find this with families. For example, we create the husband as a customer in inventory and add the wife as a contact person under the husband. Only the husband's contact is synced to the CRM with no information about the wife. The inverse is also true. If we were to create both contacts in CRM, they would not sync into books and inventory with the contact person relationship. Any advice on how to tackle this? We want to somehow associate family members and have it be accurate between apps. So this is possible. It kind of depends on how you set things up in CRM, though. So the reason they're not syncing properly as contact persons and being connected to the customer account in the finance suite and books and inventory is because the way the sync works between CRM and the finance suite is if you have the customer set as a business, it sees it as the equivalent of an account in CRM, right? If you have it set as an individual, it sees it as the equivalent of a contact in CRM or an individual. So if in books and inventory, you have a contact person listed on a customer that's set as an individual, when it syncs to CRM, it's still going to see that customer as a contact. And so it's just going to leave off and not properly associate the contact person. So the easiest way around this, and again, it kind of depends on how you have it set up in CRM and if you're willing to adjust a little bit. If you have your accounts, right, or your customers set up as businesses, even if they are an individual. So for example, a husband and wife, if you have your customer in books and inventory set up as a business and then add the contact person, it will then put it in CRM under accounts. But I've done this before, and sometimes I'll just put, the last name of the family or, Johnson family or whatever it may be, and then it will sync properly. You'll just have individual contacts, and then the combination of husband and wife would be listed as an account in CRM and as a business in inventory and books. The question you might be having is, well, if I list a person or an individual as a business and they're not technically a business, what's that going to mess up? Nothing. I've looked into it before for clients that were worried about it for tax purposes and reporting. It doesn't actually, it doesn't change any of the way the reporting works or anything like that. They were able to export all their information for their taxes at the end of the year, and it didn't affect anything. It's just it just helps group it properly. So, but yeah, that's kind of my take on it, my suggestion. Does anybody have anything else?
No, just that, yeah, the big concern obviously would be that it just feels wrong to say like, oh yeah, this is a business entity. This family is a business. But yeah, like you said, it's not changing any of the tax rules or anything like that on the back end. Just basically just changing how they structure where the data is held in the back end, but you won't notice anything different on the front end.
Yeah. The only thing about it is if they already have an account associated with the contact person of the husband, and then also want to have the wife there. So it could be we could technically have a related list, a custom related list, just to show that data inside of CRM. If you don't want to have that data inside the CRM, like interactable inside of CRM, just have it inside of books and be referenceable inside of CRM, but nothing you can edit or do anything with inside of CRM. You'll be able to do anything you want with it inside of books or inventory, but not CRM.
And one thing to keep in mind if you do start making changes is the default sync between the finance suite and CRM. It takes the CRM data as the tops, right? So if you have a one-way sync, it doesn't care what's in books and inventory. It's going to take anything in CRM and overwrite into books and inventory. If you do have a two-way sync, that's great, but it's still going to, if you have information in CRM different from books and inventory, it's still going to take that CRM data and overwrite. So it'll take anything in books and inventory that's missing from CRM and toss it in there, or create a record in CRM. But if you have two of the same records with different info, it's going to take that CRM data and overwrite what's in books and inventory, even if you updated it in books and inventory. So please keep that in mind.
All right. And that is going to wrap up the start to our brand new AZAAZ year. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We're happy to be back at it again with the white vans. If you always want to, you can always book a meeting with us by going to Zenatta.com, click on book a meeting. Sadly, you won't meet with any of us. You'll be meeting with Brett or Tyler, but we would still love the opportunity to eventually meet you if you decide to do some business with us.
Yeah, and if you want to check out our Zoho resource library, you can go to zenatta.com/resources. And if you want to stay up to date with our newsletter, just go to zenatta.com/newsletter and sign up there.
You can never miss a beat either with Club Zenatta, where you can ask questions and end up on AZAAZ, get the latest Zoho news, events, and our developers' wonderful code shares. You can get them all there and more on club.zenatta.com.
And to get yourself and your team trained up in less than a week in both basic and advanced use of Zoho apps, head over to zenatta.com/training.
And as always, we would appreciate a like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as subscribing to the audio version on your favorite choice of podcast app. We'd love to, down below, tell us maybe what your New Year's resolutions are. Mine, I keep it simple, be a little bit thinner and a little bit nicer.